Hey, how you doing? Mind if I just check your name? Oh, sure. It's David Menzies.
Now, he was the man that was instrumental in putting the Emergency Act, which means he agreed with beating and trampling his own citizens on the streets of Ottawa.
Are you a supporter, ma'am?
Of course.
Oh, really?
So he was almost at the end of his speech, and I said, what about when you called the Emergency Act on the truckers?
This was a government decision. We listened carefully to the array advice that we were getting at the time. We consulted with various partners provincially, territorially.
His greatest achievement when he was with immigration.
David Menzies for Rebel News here at the Columbus Centre in North Toronto. And you know what, folks? Not a week goes by when we don't hear of yet another announcement of yet another Liberal MP announcing that he or she is not going to run in the next federal election. The most recent rat to jump from a sinking ship is none other than Marco Mendicino, the former public safety minister, a very infamous one at that, I would argue. And he is here right now in this building hosting his New Year's levee. And you know, it would be wonderful to get one last kick at the can to scrum Marco Mendicino, wouldn't you say, folks? I mean, this was the man who said back in February 2022, more than a dozen times, I believe, that law enforcement advised him as public safety minister that they needed the federal government to invoke the Emergencies Act.
It was only after we got advice from law enforcement that we invoked the Emergencies Act. We invoked the Emergencies Act after we received advice from law enforcement. The advice we received was to invoke the Emergencies Act.
But the RCMP said that's not true. The Ottawa Police Service said it wasn't them.
Did the Ottawa Police make a request to the federal government to invoke the Emergencies Measures Act, yes or no?
So we were involved in conversations with our partners and with the political ministries. We didn't make a direct request.
Did you ask the government or representatives for the invocation of the Emergencies Act?
No, there was never a question of requesting the Emergency Act. There was a question.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm sorry. So you never asked for it. Do you know of any other police leadership that asked specifically the government for the invocation?
No, we actually reached out to various police agencies when there was talk about some of the authorities within that they were proposing.
So who, Marco Mendicino, what law enforcement agency told you to invoke the Emergencies Act? Nobody's ever been found. So I think that is one whopper of a lie. Another thing about the Freedom Convoy in 2022, you might remember then Justice Minister and Attorney General David Lametti. He actually reached out to Marco Mendicino asking about the availability of tanks. Yes, tanks to take care of a peaceful demonstration in which I believe crime went down while the trucker protest was in Ottawa, not up. Marco Mendicino asked Lametti, quote, "How many tanks are you asking for?" Lametti said, "I reckon one will do." The line just continued. We go back to the summer of 2023, perhaps the most infamous serial killer in Canada. I speak of the schoolgirl killer, Paul Bernardo, was transferred from maximum security to medium security. It was really a kind of a club-fed prison that this monster is residing in, complete with a hockey rink. And Mendicino said he was totally shocked.
That I was profoundly concerned and again shocked by this decision.
And then it came out, oh no, Marco Mendicino was informed by the Canadian Correctional Service that indeed he had been informed 3 months prior to the fecal matter hitting the fan in terms of it going public. So you have to wonder, does this guy wear pants made out of asbestos? He's the kind of guy that he would spit in your face, folks, and he would tell you it's raining. But anyways, folks, since Marco Mendicino is indeed yesterday's man, for the riding of Eglinton Lawrence, maybe he will give a farewell interview. I mean, what does he have to lose? And secondly, why don't we try to find out the real reason for his departure? My hunch, folks, is this riding has a very significant Jewish population, and they are not happy one iota of how the Justin Trudeau Liberals have turned a blind eye and a deaf ear to more than a year of genocidal chants in the street. In other words, I think if he did run, he would lose, and he would lose in a landslide. And what the heck, let's see if he'll weigh in on his feelings regarding Justin Trudeau's long goodbye. And who does Marco Mendicino want as the next federal leader? Can't wait for that. We're going to go in. We're going to see if they're going to let us in. It is indeed a private affair, and we certainly don't want to get arrested. That's kind of the playbook, especially from a minister who was banking on the Emergencies Act to take away our civil liberties and freeze our bank accounts and what have you. But we'll offer Mr. Mendicino the opportunity to come on camera. Let's check it out. Hey, how you doing, man? Oh, sure. It's David Menzies, Rebel News.
So we are closed to media at the moment.
Oh, it's closed to media?
Yes, this is a private event on private property.
I thought it's a New Year's levy.
It's a private event on private property. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, please.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Then we thought with Marco leaving, we could just clear up some inconsistencies.
Email us, we can try to set it proper.
Oh, I never get an email response back from Marco's office.
Okay.
But we're really interested in which police force told him to evoke the Emergencies Act. No. Why did he say he was not aware of Paul Bernardo transferring to a medium security facility, ma'am, when he was informed 3 months ahead of it becoming public? No. Anyone? No. Why did he offer to send in... I know, but why did he offer to send in a tank?
Closed event. Do you mind just letting us listen?
Okay, then. Do you want to talk later then? Or? Well, there you go, folks. By the way, I should point out, Marco Mendicino was more than a half hour late for his own New Year's levy. It's only from 2 to 4. It's past 2:30 right now. He's making a speech. As you can see, the diehards are here. And we've been just told it's closed to the media. I guess what else is new? However, there are some patriots outside. By the way, this is a taxpayer-funded facility, I should point out. What in the world are you doing here, Derek, at Marco Mendicino's New Year's levy?
Well, quite a few things. So, in today's state, actually, he's kind of irrelevant. But why I'm here is for the past, and that goes right back to the original convoy. Yeah. Now, he was man that was instrumental in putting the Emergency Act, which means he agreed with beating and trampling his own citizens on the streets of Ottawa.
Are you a Mendicino supporter?
No, definitely not.
Oh, yeah, okay then.
To go too.
Oh,
yeah.
do you live in this riding? Is he your MP?
No, not here. No.
Okay.
No,
okay,
not
then.
my MP, but
all right,
most of the Liberals, they need to go.
The idea of David Lametti having that, I think it was a gross conversation regarding tanks move in on the convoy. This was a peaceful protest.
It was a peaceful. There's absolutely no violence. Ottawa was actually better for it. You talk to the homeless people, you talk to the cleanliness of the street, you talk to the overall happiness that occurred during those few weeks.
No trust in Liberals, no.
Okay, then.
Yeah, they pretty much broke all the rules.
Citizens looking for accountability, and that's why we're here, because we don't want these Liberals to think that they're going to skate off, do a little book deal, leave all these crimes. We've got billions of dollars that we don't know about where they went. Yeah. Where have they gone? We have committee meetings stalled because we're waiting for unredacted paperwork. And then Justin saying that we're talking about compromised MPs. Well, it's no big deal, well, then release them. Give out the names.
They're corrupt. They're compromised. Some of them compromised. We need to know the names, right? Who are the 11 compromised MPs? They're liberals, so they still have supporters. Otherwise, we won't have liberals here, right? Yeah, we still have they benefit from maybe the policies. Who knows?
If you look at all these committee meetings that's been closed, some real crimes have been committed here in Canada, and we get a new government in, a new election in, and then these guys are going to think they can skate away, maybe do a book deal. Marco, being a lawyer, he might end up on some corporate board or in some law firm. We're going to say, no. No. We have to have accountability. He's not running again.
Yes.
So they had a best wishes card, and they asked for everyone to sign the best wishes. So I went up and I did. I said, best wishes, Marco. We will not forget the Emergency Act. Justice will come. Freedom. And apparently someone walked by and saw what I signed, and they asked me to leave afterwards.
You got to ask Mr. Mendicino about the Freedom Convoy. What was your question and what was his response?
So he was almost at the end of his speech, and I said, Marco, I have a question for you. And he says, yes. And then I said, why did you call the Emergency Act on the truckers? Marco, I love your speech, but what about when you called the Emergency Act on the truckers and you called the tanks in?
Well, listen, thank you for coming. I will always
tell them all about that, Marco.
That's not an answer. Well, it is an answer, but he's not answering the question.
So that was it.
Wow.
And I walked myself out. And at the end, I just said, I'm glad you're out of the government.
How was the Marco Mendicino event?
It was excellent. Thank you.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah? Are you still voting Liberal next election?
Oh, I can't say that.
Oh, okay then. Somebody's on the fence at least. I'll take it.
He was really, really good as a member of parliament.
Hi, sir. How was the Marco Mendicino event?
Very good.
It was great.
Very good.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you support Marco Mendicino?
Yes, we did for years.
It was fine. It was great. Yeah.
Marco Mendicino.
Oh, are you a supporter, ma'am?
Of course.
Oh, really?
Die-hard liberal.
Oh, gee, even now?
Of course. What do you mean?
Then.
I love Marco. He's
Oh,
fantastic.
why do you love him?
I worked for him for 10 years, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And he's always been positive, energetic, honest.
What was Marco Mendicino's greatest accomplishment in office?
Oh, wow. You'd have to give me more time to think about it. He had many.
His greatest achievement when he was with immigration, right? I know it's very controversial with the increase and things like that.
You can't give me just one?
I hate to give you one because it might not be the biggest one. So
okay.
I think being a straightforward, honest person who cared about helping the country. That's what I feel. That's general character. We're talking about character.
That's somewhat astonishing to me, sir, because he's been caught lying on so many occasions.
Well, that may be your view, but that isn't mine.
Oh, it's the facts of the matter. He said that...
Maybe your facts, it isn't mine.
Oh, facts are facts, sir, with all due respect.
I've heard that, of course. People always say that, and then they have their own facts.
A lot of people say he's a compulsive liar.
No, I love him.
I would object to categorizing anything he has said as lies.
Seriously?
I would. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, thank you. I don't know what that means.
From what I know, he's a man of great character.
Okay.
Right? He served Lawrence site, he served Eglinton Lawrence well.
Okay.
And that's what I could speak to.
What do you say about Mendicino being a liar, sir?
I know your background. I don't think he is.
Oh, okay. Well, don't the facts say otherwise? Never got a chance to ask him what the deal is with that face diaper either.
Well, I know him personally, and I think he's a great guy.
What about his idea of being open to having tanks come in to help take down the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa in 2022?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, no?
Honestly, no.
We had a conversation with the then Justice Minister, David Lametti.
He may have had that conversation, but you guys are obviously trying to slant something in a particular way, and I'm not interested in being part of that kind of slant.
Please, sir, course correct me.
Yeah.
You have the microphone.
No.
No?
Oh, Lord, they're talking about 3 years ago. Oh, my gosh. I can't recall anything going like that, but I think he was upstanding in terms of how everything was handled.
I don't want to get into that question.
Oh, why not?
No, that's okay. Thank you.
All right. Something I said?
I thought he was thrown under the bus with the Bernardo situation. I didn't think it was fair the way he was treated.
Why did he say he was totally shocked?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, I find Margot honest normally, so I can't answer that. But I don't know.
And looking ahead, you're still going to vote Liberal?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Are you still voting Liberal in the next election?
Absolutely.
Wow. I think it's a cult, folks, at this point. It's a cult.
We will still vote for Liberal.
How about Justin Trudeau's greatest accomplishment as a Prime Minister in a decade?
Greatest accomplishment? Wow. There's so many. I can't even speak to one right now.
Oh, just give me one.
Just one? Yeah. I'll say immigration. I have some family members that did come, right, as international students. Yes, I understand you have to cut back, right? So that was a good achievement. And not only that, I had a child during pandemic, the $10 day child care.
Ma'am, in one decade, what has been Justin Trudeau's greatest accomplishment?
Oh, there are few. He can mention more.
Okay, can you give me one?
To this...
Hey guys, we're at the Marco Mendicino event.
It's a children's dance studio here. You really shouldn't be filming it.
Oh, I don't see any children. You don't want to talk about Marco Mendicino?
Not for you.
No?
So I don't want to get into anything negative. I think he's a strong person.
One last thing. Why is there a statue of Pinocchio here with Marco Mendicino buttons on it?
A joke.
Okay. Folks, I'm almost lost for words. Is this irony or a coincidence or both? This is a sculpture of Pinocchio, perhaps the world's most famous, at least in pop culture, lying liar. And look, it's got Marco Mendicino badges. Is this being done by his supporters? Really? Because with friends like that, who needs enemies?
Where can I see it before it gets published? Where can I see it before it gets published?
When it gets published, that's when you'll see it.
And what if I want to retract all of this right now?
I don't know how that would be possible. We're just having an interview. It's already been recorded.
Yeah, but at the same time, I still, freedoms of information act and all of that stuff, I still have the right to say chop it, and I don't want it to get disseminated to the internet. I can't do that?
No, there's no expectation of privacy in a venue like this.
Ah, interesting. Can I have a card for you, David?
Oh, sure.
Or something
Absolutely.
like that?
Do you think the Liberals will form the next government?
No, for sure it's not. For sure.
At least you're a realist.
That's obvious. Yes.
Well, there you have it, folks. Marco Mendicino's New Year's levy. I know there's one crucial segment missing from this report, namely, what does Marco Mendicino have to say? Well, we couldn't get into the venue, and the event wrapped more than half an hour ago when we've been waiting around outside the Columbus Center. But here's the thing, there are multiple entrances and exits into the venue. So assuming Marco Mendicino is even here, I'm sure he took an exit where we were not. And you know, when it comes to entering and exiting buildings, when it comes to federal Liberals, sometimes it's the tradesman's entrance. Sometimes it's where the garbage is taken in and out of a building. And on that regard, that is the way Justin Trudeau is sneaking into venues. So at the end of the day, if it's good enough for the big boss man, I guess it's good enough for Marco Mendicino. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Yeah, folks, talk about the long goodbye. When Justin Trudeau said last Monday he was resigning, well, he meant kind of, sort of, he's going to get around to it sooner or later. We need an election right now. We can't afford at this critical juncture to have this country without a captain at the steering wheel. Justin Trudeau, call that election, do the right thing. And folks, you can put your name to a petition, which is, of course, calltheelection.ca. Calltheelection.ca. Once we get a critical mass of signatures, we'll deliver this document to the Liberals, try to nudge them once again to do the right thing.